So I started putting together my season predictions video on the Bulls in this upcoming year, where they're going to land in the Eastern Conference, as well as annual predictions awards, and I was planning on having it go live sometime this weekend, but then we got a lot of random news and rumors come out on the Bulls today. I guess the national media decided it was going to be Bulls News Media Day. And since a lot of these rumors have come out, I've had quite a few of you ask me about it. What does it mean as the Bulls are about to embark on the start of the season come Wednesday? How likely or accurate are some of these rumors, etc.? So let's talk about it a bit further. So what's going on, everyone? You're listening to Bulls Central here. Hope you're all doing well. Now, for those who haven't been able to keep up with the reports from today, it's really been three topics, one of which was actually just a transaction. There was no rumor or speculation about it, but the Bulls have waived Carlik Jones. Jones was on a partially guaranteed contract, and $250,000 of that would have been fully guaranteed by opening night if the Bulls kept him on the roster. So they chose to waive him, making way for an open roster spot. Second, you had Brian Windhorst coming out saying that DeMar DeRozan is a guy to keep an eye on in terms of him being a trade target if the Bulls don't extend him. And then finally, the other topic, you had Zach Lowe of ESPN saying he's hearing Patrick Williams wants a big number for his next contract. Adding to that, it's a number that starts with a 2, and it isn't $20 million, which implies he's looking for a $200 million contract. So let's actually start with that one. So as many of you know, the Bulls and Patrick Williams have until Monday to reach a potential contract extension on his rookie scale deal, as he is going into the final year of that contract. If not, Patrick would be set to become a restricted free agent this summer, which would mean he has the ability to go out there and get offers from any team around the league, and the Bulls would have the ability to match any offer in order to retain him. Now, there were rumors floating around at the start of the offseason that Patrick Williams would likely command something in the range of 5 years, $100 million, which sounds like a lot, but at $20 million a year, locking up a young player like Pat, who you would hope anyway is only going to get better, will actually end up being a value contract by the end of the deal. Now, here's the thing. I don't believe for a second that what Zach Lowe is saying is true. First of all, because we know ESPN has made up shocking storylines in the past to generate clicks and engagement. But second, because I just don't see how Patrick Williams, in his right mind, either him or his agent would think he's worth even remotely close to $200 million. If that is actually the case, then we have some serious self-awareness issues with this kid, because for a player who has shown up in the way that he has and still has to be pushed by his teammates to be more aggressive, who still has to be pushed by the coach to get more out of him, a player who struggles to get 5 rebounds a night and 10 points, that you would expect a $200 million deal. I know Tyrese Halliburton, LaMelo Ball, even Desmond Bane secured $200 million extensions on their rookie deals, but come on now. Pat hasn't given us any indication that he deserves that type of payday. And the other reason I don't believe this is because I actually think Patrick Williams is a very self-aware player. You saw it more recently in his post-game interview after the last preseason game. He knows he needs to be more aggressive. He wants to be pushed and challenged. He knows he's got to play better. This isn't the type of player who just thinks that he's killing it and dominating out there on the court and is completely unaware that he's actually not really playing that well. Given his overall confidence level and his passive nature, I cannot see him trying to ask for $200 million at this stage. That would be ludicrous. So yeah, I would take Zach Lowe's words with a grain of salt. As far as Brian Windhorst's comments about DeMar being a potential trade target if the Bulls don't extend him, I mean, I actually have a great deal of respect for Brian Windhorst. He's one of the few analysts on ESPN that I actually like, but come on now. One, this is very obvious. Like, if the Bulls don't extend DeMar, or they don't have any plans on keeping him around beyond this season, then yeah, of course, he's going to be a trade candidate because the Bulls will try and get something for him in return instead of letting him walk for nothing as a free agent. Now, what I don't really get from Brian Windhorst saying this now is that he's almost implying if the Bulls don't reach an agreement on an extension with DeMar before the start of the season, that he's going to be a potential trade target. That couldn't be further from the truth because, one, the Bulls have until June 30th of next year to extend him before free agency opens, similar to what they did with Vucevic before he became a free agent and reaching an agreement right before the deadline. And two, while you can debate whether or not the Bulls should trade DeMar, the fact of the matter is the Bulls love DeMar DeRozan. The front office and coaching staff love him for what he brings not only on the court, but off the court with his mentorship and veteran leadership. Just an extreme professional, is always focused on working hard and playing at the highest level. It's rare to have a player like that these days in the NBA who has that Mamba-like mentality where they put in the work no matter how long they've been in the league and are willing to make sacrifices for the betterment of the team. To me, it's pretty obvious. The Bulls are going to see how the season goes. I'm sure extension talks are going to be ongoing, and if things really start to go poorly, then yeah, they'll assess the trade landscape, and hell, maybe even DeMar would actually ask for a trade out, depending on how bad the Bulls are to start the year. But if things go well, they'll go into the offseason, assess their areas of need and weaknesses, and extend him before free agency begins. The Bulls are going to want flexibility going into this offseason, knowing that this offseason could produce a massive pivot in the direction of this team based on how the season transpires. They're not going to lock up DeMar to a long-term deal before the start of the year. They want to have the flexibility to go into another direction should they need to. I don't see DeMar getting traded unless things really start trending in a downward direction for the Bulls as a team. And then finally, the news on the Bulls waiving Carlik Jones. Why did they do it? What does it mean? Well, this actually shouldn't really come as a surprise. If the Bulls had guaranteed Jones's deal, they would have been awfully close to flirting with the luxury tax line. They already have too many guards as it is. I was fully expecting he would be waived after the preseason. Good player, good scorer, but he's not an NBA level player. And he'll be on the Bulls' Windy City team for sure. Now, this does open up a roster spot. The Bulls now have 14 guys on their roster, not including their two-way contracts. Does this mean the Bulls will sign one last player? Well, let me remind everyone that the Bulls are just a tad under $1 million before they go over that tax line. In order for them to sign one last player to the roster, the minimum, at least for a fully guaranteed deal, is over $1 million, which would put the Bulls over the tax line, which I don't think I even need to say it at this point, is not going to happen. We know this ownership. They could sign a player to a partially guaranteed deal where they would owe them some money now to start the season, then have to make a decision by mid-year to fully guarantee that contract, but I don't really see that happening. I also don't know who would be a good candidate for them to be able to sign at that kind of deal. Maybe DeMarcus Cousins or Dwight Howard. Is Nerlens Noel still available? But even then, if we know they're not going to fully guarantee the deal over the course of the season because it would put them into the luxury tax, then what's the point? So I personally suspect the Bulls will keep the roster as is, but we'll see if that changes at all in the coming days. Those are my thoughts. Let me know what you guys think. As always, be sure to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.